This week I will be conducting Miklos Rozsa's Kaleidoscope, which is 6 short piano pieces for his 2 children, Juliet and your brother, Nicholas. 3 short pieces for each. And in 1957, Miklos Rozsa orchestrated these wonderful, charming piano pieces. It's such a joy, such a delight to perform this music, and such a joy and such a delight to get to speak with you.
Okay.
I guess for me, since these pieces that we're going to play, Kaleidoscope, are pieces for children, one of the things I was hoping to get from you is just a sense of what were your impressions of your father as a child? What are your first memories of him?
My first memories of him, that he was larger than life. He was very handsome, very disciplined. He worked incessantly. Sundays were left for Children's Day, and we would go to museums, or we'd take a safari, because we lived in the Hollywood Hills, to the beach, and there were no freeways, and it seemed like it took at least 4 hours to get there. And my father would say, we would sit in the back, and he would say, whoever sees the beach first gets a penny. Oh, we were so enthralled about that.
What kind of museums did you go to?
Art museums, mostly art museums. He was an avid art collector. He collected Dutch art, Roman heads, bronzes. He had etchings all over the house. The house was like walking into a museum. He had pictures hanging everywhere. At one time we had huge tapestries as you came in the front door that were hanging on the wall. He had a very, very large, it must have been like 20 feet high, statue of Hermes or Mercury.
Wow.
Then we had an accident one year. As children, it was a spiral staircase, and we had chicken wire on the staircase, so in case we fell, it would break the fall. We took the chicken wire, at least my parents did, off, and the chandelier from the top part of the house fell right on the statue and went gone.
Oh, that's terrible.
So he never replaced that. He was also a very quiet man. He was extremely polite. He was a Renaissance man. He spoke 5 or 6 languages. So at a very young age we had French lessons, because that was at that time the international language, diplomatic language.
Right.
So he was an all-around European gentleman.
Yeah.
He wore a suit all the time, and at home he had a special leather jacket that he always wore. When we went out to dinner with my mother and father, we got dressed for dinner, no matter where we were going. Go upstairs and change for dinner. Not for dinner in the house, but if we were going out. He had a very strict regimen of what he did during the day. He would get up and have breakfast at the same time every morning. Then he would go downstairs, and when he wasn't at the studio, he'd be composing downstairs until lunch. Then he'd have lunch, and then he'd go downstairs again. Sometimes he'd have a siesta, sometimes he would continue composing. Dinner was always on the table at 6 o'clock, always. And then he wasn't a TV watcher. He didn't even go to movies.
Really?
Yeah, he played music a lot, very loudly, in our living room. And then he would retire for the evening and either read or back to the piano.
When you say he played music really loudly in your living room, do you mean he played at the
No,
piano or
he
the
had
recordings?
he had
A record player.
a record player. I mean, a very big record player, and he would play. But he wouldn't play his music. He would play sometimes his music, but mostly other composers. Another thing that was really a tradition in the house is he had tea every day at 4 o'clock. And he would invite usually composers or musician friends to have tea at 4 o'clock and his special cookies that he used to get at Benish, when Benish was a real pastry shop. And it became well known that you were in the circle if you were invited to tea.
Wow.
So I always said he's holding court.
Very funny.
The people that he associated with were all musicians. And there was Heibitz and Kaleidoscope and Penario and George Scholti. All these people were around. Very few actors. Burt Lancaster was a great fan of his. He did quite a few film noir pictures with Father, and many times we'd go to a concert and Burt Lancaster would be in the audience.
Wow.
And I remember meeting him at a Golden Globe Awards with my father, and all I could see were his beautiful teeth. I just, oh my God, he's so gorgeous. But he was an amazing actor. The Killers is one of my favorite.
Yeah.
And he had a very rich life, and I was extremely happy to have been a part of it.
Did you play an instrument growing up?
Yeah, my brother and I both played the piano. But the pressure was so great. He was a perfectionist beyond, and his studio was downstairs, music studio, and we were on the top floor, and he could hear us playing, and which made me very nervous. And the last final performance, we had a recital, and he came, and my poor brother was playing the Rakoczy March, and he couldn't remember it. He kept on playing it over and over, the same thing over and over and over again. My father going, you know. So we never continued after that. So we started at age 5 and quit at age 8.
Okay.
And I'm sorry that I did, because I would love to be able to play the piano now.
Just specifically about Kaleidoscope, which was originally a piano piece,
Right.
or 6 piano pieces, I guess.
Correct.
3 for you,
And
3 for your
my
brother, Nicholas. First of all, did your father ever play those for you, or sing them? There's a lullaby, and I'm wondering if there's
He played them for us when we were older. Of course, when he wrote them, we were just babies.
3 of the movements, the first, third, and fifth, I guess, are dedicated to Nicholas, to your brother Nicholas,
Right.
and then the second, fourth, and sixth are dedicated to you.
Right.
Do you know if there's some stories or some significance about which one is dedicated to which?
No, I know one which had sort of an Asian feeling to it.
The Chinese carillon.
Yeah, we had an Asian nanny, so that was based on that. The march, of course, would be my brother. I mean, he wasn't marching yet, but that was a very masculine piece.
Right.
My favorite is the
Oh, the Tsingara, yeah.
that I absolutely love.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's so filled with depth and feeling and compassion and the real Hungarian flavor, and I truly like the whole piece. You know, all of them put together. They really work together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. There was a story, it's in his book, I remember reading it, that I wish I could remember what piece it was, but there was a piece that your father was recording in the studio, and a violinist was sliding around a lot, sort of in the gypsy style.
Right.
And your father apparently approached the violinist at some point later and said, perhaps you could slide around a little less. and the violinist said, "Oh, I'm sorry, that's the gypsy in me." And your father replied, "No, I think it's the MGM in you."
That is true. He was a magician, I thought, with his expressions of, especially his love themes. There, El Cid and Ben-Hur and Diane and just so many of them. They're absolutely incredible, and they're all different.
I hope many people perform this wonderful piece, because it's really worth it. And
thank you.
Thank you very much.